Hello, my name is Felix Reyes, and I am really excited to get this thing started. This is something I'm very passionate about: fantasy football, best ball drafting, drafting since the month of January. This is my cup of tea right here. I really enjoy doing all of this, and I've been wanting to do something like this, recording some of the drafts that I do and kind of taking this journey with a lot of y'all fantasy football fans, just like myself, who's very passionate about it. And yeah, just a bunch of us guys, bunch of us, whoever it is, here to do some drafts and have some fun. Without further ado, let's get started. I am currently submitting one for Best Ball Mania. Says currently waiting for 7 people. Let me go ahead and add this screen so you guys can follow along. Here we go. All right, so we are waiting for 6 people. I could talk a little bit more about some of the plans that I have. My goal right now is to do about 5 Best Ball Manias, to at least record them. I'll probably be doing some on the side, but as far as recording goes, I want to do 5 and 5 of the DraftKings one as well. That has 2 million up top. One of the biggest things that you should know about Underdog Fantasy versus DraftKings is that Underdog Fantasy is half PPR, and the format over on DraftKings is PPR. So the drafting is a little bit different as far as where I'm ranking players and players that I'm interested in. Obviously, some are going to take more of a priority depending on the site that I'm on. One clear example, for instance, running backs. If we're talking about a team like the Minnesota Vikings, Aaron Jones carries a little bit more value on the DraftKings side of things. Jordan Mason would carry more value on Underdog Fantasy due to it being more touchdown dependent because of the half PPR scoring. All right, we're waiting for one more person. We're going to get this thing started. But yeah, throughout the season, I am hoping to be able to stream, ideally live, at least twice a week. Let's talk about some start and sits, Sunday mornings before game starts, and some game environments I'm interested. We could talk about weather, just preparing ourselves to win the matchup that we have that current weekend. If it's either week 1, week 2, whatever that may be. And then for during the weekdays, I want to talk about some of the waiver wire pickups and yeah, how we can improve our teams and kind of take a little preview of that current week. All right, looks like we have the fourth hole here. We are drafting. See if I'm a little bit familiar with some of these names. Probably one of them. So if you're not familiar with the Best Ball Street, especially on Underdog, and I'm sure most of you guys who are watching are, there's badges on top of these. It really tells you how experienced they are in regards to drafting, how many times they've drafted. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's kind of interesting to see if you're in a lobby full of people, like they like to call the badge bros, and that will determine how sharp the draft will more than likely be. All right, I have the 4th pick here. The goal right here. Let's see here. By the way, this my rank was because I was out of the state and it forced me to do some rankings about a few months ago. So that's not my current rankings. I have yet to update that. I'd love to, since we're coming down already to the final stretch of the off season when best ball drafting is happening. It's going to be a little bit difficult for me to get all that out there. Plan to do all that. All right, let's see here. Well, could go wide receiver here, but I'm not gonna lie, I am really big on Christian McCaffrey, and when you have a chance to draft a player of that caliber uh, in the mid first rounds, it's a big deal, y'all. If he is indeed fully healthy, which I know I was burned by him last year, and I know that's usually the case when it comes to Christian McCaffrey. It's hard to say no, y'all. It's hard to say no. And this season, my exposure right now is about 22 to 25% on Christian McCaffrey. I plan to keep it going upwards as long as we continue to know he's healthy. Because if he comes anywhere near the Christian McCaffrey we know, he's gonna pay off that ADP, y'all. All right, let's take a look at the board here, see where we're at. First pick, Jamar Chase. Second, Bijan. That's about right. Saquon Barkley. And you got CeeDee Lamb. Yeah, so this current draft room right now is drafting nothing too crazy to flip the board, which we're okay with right now. All right, Drake London. That's all right. Drake London and Brock Bowers. That's not a very common back-to-back pick there on the turn. So I like that. You could tell that that person is trying to do something different, make them a little bit contrarian as far as exposure goes as well. Usually around this time of the year too, I've been drafting best balls for the last couple years, and you tend to notice a very common theme. Right around this time, people are trying to force players, kind of like myself. If I were to go just per ADP, he's technically a few spots after. But I want to continue to push my exposure to Christian McCaffrey, going that I think right now he's one of the best values on the board. As far as 3 or 4 goes, that's usually where I'm kind of drafting him. With the first and second pick, I really do like Jamar Chase and Bijan Robinson on this format here, but yeah, it's kind of hard to go away from Christian McCaffrey. All right, Bucky Irving, someone who's getting drafted a little bit earlier here. Don't hate it at all, especially if you're a big fan of that player. And then more importantly, the Rachaad White news that we got. Sounds like he's going to be out for a few weeks. Chase Brown. This is someone I've been seeing get drafted a little earlier. All right, guys, I am on the clock. This is tough. I think I'm going to do something different here. I do like Lad McConkey, but I want to get a little more Josh Jacobs, and I'm going to start off this draft with 2 running backs, especially with it being so touchdown dependent. I like Lad McConkey. I think he's a great pick around this point too. I do value him a little bit more in a PPR format, being more on the other site of DraftKings. But yeah, right around this bucket, y'all, there is some guys I'm interested in here, but Josh Jacobs to me has a chance to have another big year, and couldn't pass that up. All right, here we're going to try to go wide receiver. That's the goal. Perfectly fine with a Marvin Harrison. I would even take Tyreek Hill, who's kind of falling. And then we'll kind of focus on some of the bye weeks. We have Green Bay, Denver, Chicago, Baltimore. I could get Lamar Jackson here. That's not a bad move at all. Tyreek Hill goes here. I might just go Lamar Jackson. Marion Hampton is the one that goes. All the news that we're getting about Tyreek Hill kind of makes you a little worrisome about this play, but it's kind of hard, y'all. Let's go Tyreek Hill. Let's add to the wide receivers. Ultimately here, we're starting 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs, tight end, 1 quarterback, and your flex spot. So I think it's still very important. There's going to be a big dip when it comes to the wide receiver position. So I don't want to get too ahead of myself and not grab that. I did like Lamar Jackson here, but we didn't need to force that pick. All right, let's see here. Pull up the board. Marvin Harrison went right after Tyreek Hill, Lamar Jackson, JSN, Garrett Wilson. This is someone I've seen drop a little bit more than usual. I think that a lot of it is very contingent of the news that we're getting about Justin Fields and camp, him not looking the part, and overall, I'm a Bears fan, so I'll be honest. I'm very familiar with Justin Fields' game. A lot of people get nervous about the passing portion of it as a real quarterback, right? And that is completely understandable as someone who was a Bears fan and was very upset with that. But when it comes to fantasy, I still think Justin Fields is a really good pickup. Basically, with what he's able to do with his rushing touchdown upside. But Garrett Wilson, one of the things that he did as a Chicago Bear, Justin Fields, that is, he was very laser focused on his first read. And there's no doubt about it that Garrett Wilson is going to be his first read. No doubt about it. And then the beauty behind it all is the rapport that he already has with Garrett Wilson, as this was his wide receiver one at Ohio State. So there's a lot to like there. Not too sure if I am super fond of his dropping or his ADP falling. But let's take a look here. We have a few more picks. Kenneth Walker, seeing him jump a little bit more. Cook, you're going to start seeing Cook kind of stay in that spot where he was getting drafted. Look at Rashee Rice. We just got news about Rashee Rice. I'll read that shortly as I get ready to make my next pick here. We have Christian McCaffrey, Josh Jacobs, Tyreek Hill, Green Bay, and San Francisco are two teams that play Chicago for the playoff bye weeks of week 15, 16, and 17. I think I'm going to go down that route. I'm going to take DJ Moore here. And yeah. Okay. The news as far as Rashee Rice was that he's going to have a hearing on Tuesday, September 30th in New York, which we're expecting him to play the first 5 weeks. Meaning if he gets a 4 to 8 game range of suspension, that puts him back on the field right around week 13 or so. That's changed things, y'all. If you get to have him the first 4 to 5 weeks, that means, yeah, you're going to be able to get a lot of his upside there for sure. And then him coming back by week 13 gets you just in time for the playoffs. Again, playoffs are weeks 15, 16, and 17. So that's huge. All right, here's another player that I am very fond of. Let's see if he falls to me. Do love Calvin Ridley. Tennessee is another team that, here, let's double check here. San Francisco plays week 15. We can kind of keep the correlation going. I love this. Calvin Ridley. Some of my exposure, y'all. I'm a Bears fan. Not trying to be a homer and bias. I do just like the value of some of these Chicago pieces. With Ben Johnson now being added to the fold, it's going to change things, and hope that our offense really takes a massive step. That offense with Ben Johnson should really thrive. And obviously the hopes are that Caleb Williams can at least reach anywhere near his upside. And I think with the now union of Ben Johnson, I think that can come to pass. But yeah, we have guys like DJ Moore in training camp. We're currently hearing that he is taking snaps out of the backfield. There's just a lot of fun, gadgety things that he's going to be able to do with DJ Moore, which obviously gives him even more value at the ADP that we're getting, which is right around 45, 46. We got him at pick 46. And hopefully that pays off. If there is one player I'm a little bullish on as far as connection that he's going to have, is Roma Dunze. But we're not here. I didn't want to play around and try to force that play. I don't want to see where the board is and how it falls on our laps. But yeah, so far we have Tennessee and Chicago as far as some of the playoff opponents that San Francisco has. I usually don't like forcing this. I want to see how the value falls on the board and then kind of play around with it as well. But yeah, we don't want to force these things when you're drafting. I know some people like to do so. I think it is important, but you also want to take the best player available. Let's see here. What do we have here? All right, so we see here 12th pick here. This individual was able to get Jaden Daniels and Deebo Samuels. That seems like to be really common pairing, only due to the fact that Terry McLaurin gets taken at different spots. And in this case, Terry McLaurin was taken in the 4th round at pick 43. So it did not make its way around to the end there. I've had a few drafts where I was able to get Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin, but in most cases when I'm usually stacking that Washington offense, I've gotten more of Deebo and Jaden Daniels. I do like Deebo this year. I think that his connections to Adam Peters, the GM over there, and kind of what Cliff Kingsbury likes to do with that offense, I think there's a real big role for Deebo Samuel. A lot of people are a little nervous about his injury history and kind of just like the way he showed up at the very end of the San Francisco 49ers tenure. And yeah, so far we're hearing some pretty good stuff coming out of training camp, so that's a good thing. Speaking of Roma Dunze went at 65. All right, I'm about to come up here. I was going to say I wouldn't mind getting DeAndre Swift there just to add to this pairing. One of these guys right here who I don't have enough of is Isaiah Pacheco. I'm very interested in Matthew Golden here. Kind of going back and forth here. Let's just go with Matthew Golden. I like my McCaffrey and Josh Jacobs setup already to start my anchor running backs. Both are RB1s usually in a lot of people's teams, so it's good to have those two there. I don't have to force the running back position, and also I have a nice stack here with Matthew Golden and Josh Jacobs, who both Chicago and San Francisco 49ers play when the playoffs kick around. Running back here, I may go running back. I like Pacheco and I like Tony Pollard a lot here. Tony Pollard just went. If Pacheco's still on the board, that is someone I'm highly interested. If not, Jordan Addison still being there is quite intriguing. I will say in this format, Jordan Mason is someone I'm really intrigued by, as per the example I gave before we started this draft. We're going to take Isaiah Pacheco, who ends up falling to us here. Everything we're hearing out of camp right now, and I'm going to speak about camp because that's the most recent news and information we're getting right now. And you see Jordan Mason go there right after Pacheco. I was kind of back and forth on those two, but Pacheco seems like the clear RB1 currently. We're hearing news that Elijah Mitchell is looking good out there, as well as the rookie Brashard Smith, who's taken some reps with the first team. He's someone who's going to offer maybe a little bit more, in my opinion, on the DraftKings side. He went to SMU, which is not too far from where I'm at, and he was previously a wide receiver and now turned running back. So he's going to be able to give you a lot on the pass catching side of things. He'll be a dual threat. But the reality is we don't really know how soon he's going to be incorporated within the offense. Isaiah Pacheco, as far as we know right now, and we already know, he's been a part of that offense. He's been a part of that offense for quite a while already. Last year, coming back out of that injury, things didn't seem too good. It seemed to be coming off really slow out of that recovery. So there were some hesitations there, even for me. I'll be honest, early on, back in January when I started drafting, I was completely fading Isaiah Pacheco. I wanted to hear more. And so far, the news we're hearing are glowing. Darnell Mooney seems, in my opinion, a little too early to be taking. We're getting a lot of information right now that Darnell Mooney might be out, if not just the first week of the season. He might be out for a few more weeks, dealing with a current injury right now. I will double check that once I get a second here. Don't remember if there was a hamstring or not. Let's give it a look here. This draft is moving by quick. I love it. All right, here we're coming up here. Let's see what we got. Pick 93. Perfectly fine going tight end here with TJ Hawkinson. Another thing that I like to do when I draft, I'll be honest, and we can double check where he lies. Let's see here. As far as playoff opponents, no one here. They play week 15 Dallas, the Giants week 16, and week 17 they play Detroit. Brock Purdy just went off the board. Let's see here. Give me 1 second, guys. Trying to look up this Darnell Mooney information. It looks like he hurt his shoulder. Announced that he'll miss several weeks. Yeah, but we've been getting some weird information as far as Darnell Mooney goes. And a guy that I've been enjoying picking up later, and I think he's also really good for a PPR format, is Ray McLeod, who's already had a good rapport with Michael Penix as of last season. And I think he absolutely has a role, especially if Darnell Mooney is going to be out. But I have been enjoying droppage of Darnell Mooney. I think I saw yesterday someone was able to scoop him up at pick 134. Not in a draft that I was in, but it's pretty awesome to see. All right, this is crazy. There are so many tight ends right now available. This is so not what I expected. I really like Caleb Williams, but it doesn't look like you have to do much to get him. Let's go. I really like Luther Burden here. I don't know if Luther Burden is the way I want to go. I think Justin Fields is one of those guys, I know we just talked about him, that you can get. Here, let's see. Let's get Caleb Williams. We're going to get Caleb and then see if we can somehow end up with either Luther Burden or Colston Loveland. Big fan of this. I want to add on to the stack that I have here of these guys, and makes it a little bit harder to get like a Jordan Love is by week 5. That's gonna make it tough, y'all. I'll be honest. This could be. I don't know if it just could be. I think this is gonna be a 3 quarterback team. Yeah, we're going to have to go 3 quarterbacks here. It's kind of hard to just anchor everything with Caleb Williams. Had I started with like Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, some of those top tier quarterbacks, you can kind of get away with doing a 2 quarterback draft. Again, not trying to force too many things right away, but I absolutely think that the way things are looking right now, this is going to be a 3 quarterback build. All right, we're starting to see a run. There goes Colston Loveland. I'm telling you, I have a lot of exposure to Colston Loveland. Had I not gotten TJ Hawkinson around there, I probably would have made a move to find a way to get Colston Loveland. That's how much I like him. A lot of information we're getting right now is how he's operating and there goes Luther Burden. So that's okay. We got Caleb Williams. We got him stacked with DJ Moore, so that's not a problem. Going back to Colston Loveland, Colston Loveland is operating a ton in the red zone, and I just think he's going to be a big target. He was the 10th overall pick, if I'm not mistaken, and he's a new toy for Ben Johnson. We saw how Sam Laporta looked under him rookie year, and Colston Loveland just brings a ton more upside than a Sam Laporta, in my personal opinion. So I think that's huge. All right, let's see what we got here. I'm not opposed to getting a JJ McCarthy. I'm not going to grab him now. I might get him on the wraparound here. Let's see. We can add. Hey, even running backs are not the best here. Do like Javante a little bit here if I'm looking for my fourth guy. But we could start looking at Rashad Bateman. Rashad Bateman. Apologies. He's someone who would be playing week 17 versus the Green Bay Packers. And we currently have a stack here of Matthew Golden and Josh Jacobs. So we're going to keep this flow going. Wow, Ray Davis's ADP spiked when people were a little hesitant on the information we were getting out of James Cook, possibly not signing an extension soon enough. And usually when that kind of information comes out, everybody usually reacts to it. Usually the best time to jump on some value when it comes to players. Let's see here. Who do we have? Bigsby. I don't mind Williams. I'm going to target McCarthy since I've already explained that I think this is going to be a 3-quarterback team. My goal, if I can get JJ McCarthy here, I think a really good player to pick up for this team as well would be Cam Ward, and that would solidify my 3-quarterback. And then we would be pairing him with Calvin Ridley. If not, I'm perfectly fine with even getting Jordan Love if he somehow falls to us. And here we go. JJ McCarthy. Brandon Ayuk is intriguing, but Brandon Ayuk, as far as we have heard, he might not be around till week 6 of the regular season, y'all. The idea that he might not be back till then, and then to come back rusty, having not been able to be on a field and playing live games, I'm a little nervous about that. And I do have some Brandon Ayuk bags, so I'm being a little more hesitant when it comes to that. JJ McCarthy has a ton of potential upside. Obviously, we haven't seen him in a regular season game. We've only seen him in the preseason last year prior to his injury. Played really well. He showed a lot and flashed a ton under the Kevin O'Connell offense, which we've already seen guys like obviously Kirk Cousins played really well in it, but Sam Darnold looked really good in that offense last year. I believe he threw for 35 touchdowns, and just JJ McCarthy sniffs any bit of that, we're really cooking. And the reason why I say that is Sam Darnold was a person that a lot of people were already writing off due to just inconsistency the last couple of years. And it's fair, y'all. It's pretty fair and understandable. But what I also like about JJ McCarthy is that he has rushing upside. So I think that adds a ton of value to him. And there we go. We are seeing the running backs go fast. Usually between, and I'll note this, Drake May and JJ McCarthy. I do like Drake May over JJ McCarthy, especially for fantasy. But I took JJ McCarthy. We had TJ Hawkinson, and I do really like that stack. Point that I wanted to make as far as, yeah, see, there goes Jordan Love. Keenan Allen's been jumping up. As far as some of the, I mean, you can call it strategy that I like to utilize when building a roster, I like to stick within the division as well. Not entirely, but, you know, at some point when you're looking at the playoff opponents, you also want to take some shots on teams that they're going to be playing multiple times out of the year. And we already know that within their division, they're going to be playing multiple times versus these teams. If you build somewhat of a stack, that's good. And in this case, I have Caleb Williams, Chicago, NFC North, and now we have Minnesota stack. And then we have a Green Bay stack. Even though we don't have the quarterback, we still have Josh Jacobs. And guys, let's see here. Jadon Blue. We can go running back. I'm interested in Braylon Allen. I'm gonna take Braylon Allen. I'm gonna hope that Cam Ward is there on the way back. I think that's gonna be really good. Um, we're hearing so much about Braylon Allen. If they end up trading away Brees Hall, yeah, Bray Allen. Probably botching this name so much right now. Braylon Allen. There we go. I was botching his name, and there goes Cam Ward. See, and that's how we get upset. Well, there's a lot of quarterbacks. I did say that this is a 3 quarterback team. We're gonna have to take Tua here. A little earlier than I like to take Tua, but I should have taken Cam Ward. But there was no chance that Braylon Allen was going to be there when I drafted again. Let's see here. Yeah. Quarterbacks. And look at the droppage, too. I'm not saying Tua is going to be phenomenal this season. I am a Tua guy. I did love Tua coming out of Alabama, but fantasy-wise and all, it's not my favorite target this year. But as QB3, it's not the end of the world, yo. See here, we got 4 running backs. We got 5 wide receivers and a tight end. There is now a drop in tight end as well. We also have a drop in running backs, in my personal and honest opinion. And these guys here, you are taking shots with at this point. But I do like Ja'Cory Crosby Merritt. I think that he is a sleeper this year. I think he has the potential to be RB1. Maybe not as soon as week 1, but at some point in the season, I absolutely believe that he has the potential and upside to be that guy. I was a huge fan of his. Coming out of college, I thought that he was a sleeper, and someone who ended up getting picked up in the 7th round. My beloved Bears got Kyle Monangai in the 7th round. That's another guy that a lot of people are pretty high on as well. We're not hearing much about the Roshan Johnson news. He's also dealing with an injury, and we're kind of looking to see, as far as that Thunder Lightning combo that Ben Johnson had in Detroit with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. We're curious to see how that's going to look here. Let's take a look here. Cedric Tillman just went off the board. A lot of these guys at this point. Let's see. Miami has Tampa Bay, Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh. Let's do Jalen McMillan. I'm interested in Jalen McMillan at this point. I also like Isaiah Likely, as far as adding another tight end to this team here. I also don't mind for Tua later on. We got some time here. Getting Darren Waller at the very end of the draft, if we're somehow able to grab him, I think that would fit what I'm looking for. All right, let's see what they got here. Quentin Johnston. Interesting. Okay, Rashad White and Isaac Grendo. Grendo would have been nice too. But we're going to go with Jalen McMillan here. I think he obviously fits the playoff opponents that we have here for Miami. And since we've already stacked Miami with Tua and Tyreek, it's always fun to bring it back. Week 17. Our goal is this team to be in the final week of the playoffs and hopefully fighting for a chance to win $2 million up top. I haven't mentioned that. Just a reminder, $2 million. Life-changing money. $2 million is also on the DraftKings site. Underdog is also doing $2 million up top. That is why we're all drafting them. Not just because we love to do this, which I do. I love drafting. But with chances of winning top dollar up top. All right, let's take a look here. I am not opposed to Austin Eckler, even after seeing all that I said about Ja'Cory Crosby.
merit. Jalen Wright is there as well. I think I'm going to go away from the tight end. I think I'm just going to take one more running back, y'all. Kind of like this bucket here if we're getting these two players here. And we sure are. Let's see. Since I'm doing this stack already, let's go with Jalen Wright. He's getting mixed in a lot with Devon Achane, and I think Devon Achane is going to be getting a lot of opportunities, but Jalen Wright might have a lot of goal line opportunities. And now with the injuries, who was it? Alexander Madison, who was playing the preseason game versus the Bears, season-ending injury. And then they were having some issues with their backups as well. Some of them banged up right after Jalen Wright. Now they are down to Ollie Gordon, 7th-round pick, rookie out of Oklahoma State. And if you follow college football, you know he had a really down year last year, which kind of had him drop in the draft. But the year prior to that, probably one of the best running backs in all of college football. He was in conversations for the Heisman. The same year Jaden Daniels won it, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Jaden Daniels won that year. Ollie Gordon was an absolute beast and monster. I am rooting for the kid. I really hope he gets an opportunity at edge out and get an opportunity. All right. We are getting further into this draft. We have 2 more rounds, 16, 17, and 18. We got 3 more picks, y'all. Some of the wide receivers that I am absolutely intrigued by, and I've noticed he is getting picked up way too early. And by way too early, earlier than I want him, because this is a player that I have a ton of exposure. He is my highest exposed player. His name is Adam Mitchell. Before all the news that we were getting from camp that he's finally looking the part, he was someone I was getting in the 18th round. Heck, even on DraftKings right now, you can get him in the 20th round. He's moved up now due to the information we got. But he's someone I'm just going to take here. I'm not taking any risk. When I look at all the other guys that are on the board, Alec Pierce, Michael Wilson, I want to add to my wide receiver room, running back, tight ends, nothing here other than Jatavian Sanders is kind of intriguing to me right here, but we already discussed. I really want to get Darren Waller on this team. Let's take a look here, see where we're at. Currently, we have 7. We have 3 quarterbacks, 5 running backs, 7 wide receivers. I would not be opposed to getting one more receiver, even though I think this is a pretty solid wide receiver room. The running back room, let's see who we have out here. We spoke about Sean Tucker we did not talk about Sean Tucker. We talked about Rashad White being out and might be out for a few extra weeks. So he is currently the backup right now. I am intrigued by Rashad White. I do like Josh Brooks as Chase Brown's current backup, and I believe Cincinnati. We have some guys here, Baltimore and Miami. Let's actually go with Taj Brooks. He's a good handcuff. I mean, I don't have his RB1 in Chase Brown, but I wouldn't be opposed to getting Taj Brooks here to add to the correlations as well. And then with pick 18, we could just go get R5. So we got 5 running backs, 2 strong running backs, but injuries can really flip this here. See who we have out here at wide receivers. Yeah, see, no one. Take that back. I like this. Let's get Deontay Johnson. I think Deontay Johnson is being severely undervalued based on where he's getting drafted. If he ends up being wide receiver 1, y'all, I understand that he is Cleveland. And Cleveland's offense sounds like a mess. It usually is a mess. And we don't know who's going to be the quarterback week 1. And our hopes is, for fantasy purposes, I really hope it's Joe Flacco, because we know what Joe Flacco, yeah, that could be a new word. Joe Flacco is capable of doing with fantasy players. We saw what he did with Indianapolis last season and even Cleveland the year before that. He is fully capable of getting Deontay Johnson's target. And if you remember Deontay Johnson, when he was with Pittsburgh Steelers. PPR monster. This isn't a PPR site, but we're talking about round 17, y'all. He scores a few touchdowns, and he is going to absolutely obliterate his ADP. All right. So, and here's the beauty of it. Deontay Johnson. When we're looking at correlations, plays Chicago, week 15. So right now, currently with the Chicago stack that we have Chicago is Cleveland, week 15, Deontay Johnson. Green Bay, we have Josh Jacobs, Matthew Golden, which we didn't even get to speak on a lot. I'll talk about him shortly. And then San Francisco, we have Christian McCaffrey. So we have the playoff opponents for the Chicago Bear stack that we just built right now. And our hopes is that pans out. All right. Jatavian Sanders is someone I've become even more bullish on. I want Darren Waller, but I'm looking at Jatavian Sanders. He came out of University of Texas. This is year 2 for him. I think he's learned the offense. We're hearing good things about him. They don't really have a good backup tight end right now. Tommy Tremble's out with an injury as well. And I mean, you just look at that room, and it's a really thin room. Speaking of Jatavian Sanders, he is now gone. All right, here's the goal. Our goal is to get Darren Waller here, y'all. Let's hope this falls in our lap. If not, Darren Waller, perfectly fine with an Elijah Arroyo. Who seems to be tight end one over there. Quick thought on Matthew Golden here real quick, y'all. Matthew Golden, what's the likelihood that he's not wide receiver 1 for the Green Bay Packers as we see Christian Watson get picked up here? All right, perfect. We got Darren Waller in our hands. In most cases, people are going to pick Elijah Arroyo. I'm looking at the offense. I'm looking at my stack. And here's to hoping that Darren Waller is the guy. Bye week 6 for TJ Hawkinson. Bye week 12 for Darren Waller. As my 18th pick, I just need a little bit from Darren Waller, especially if this offense. That's another thing about Miami. Miami probably going to be playing from behind most games. So the game script for them is going to be more on the positive end in terms of wanting, and when I say positive end, I'm not talking about the game script. I'm talking about positive end for us fantasy players. More points, more scores, and that's going to be a beauty for us. Back to Matthew Golden. I am all over the place. I do apologize. I'm trying to get this all squared away. But Matthew Golden, we spoke about Jatavian Sanders, another guy coming out of University of Texas. And I just think the upside with him, I was a massive fan of his coming out of college. Ran a 4.28, right? If I'm not mistaken, 4.2. I believe he ran. I can confirm that. They drafted him in the first round, y'all, in Green Bay. That's where the NFL draft was at. So this carousel that they have over there with wide receivers, Matthew Golden has an opportunity to really be that dude for Jordan Love, the speed, basically everything that they wanted out of Christian Watson, who can't stay healthy. You're getting it right here with Matthew Golden. And I really do believe that he's going to pay off his price this year too. I think he's going to really flash, and I believe he's going to do it right away. 4.29, so I was close. I said 4.28. 4.29, so the speed is there. Jordan Love, if there's one thing he likes to do, is to pass. Deep passes. Deep passes are his thing. All right, y'all. I love what we built here. Let's take a look at it real quick. We went with quarterback, Caleb Williams, JJ McCarthy, Tua Tagovailoa. If I'm pronouncing that correctly, I need to work on that. We got Tua there. Bye weeks don't even overlap each other. That's also a positive. Not the end of the world, especially if you have 3 quarterbacks. If you have like 2 quarterbacks that have the same bye week, in my opinion. I have some teams with Michael Penix, Jordan Love, or Michael Penix and Caleb Williams, who all have bye week 5. And then my third quarterback is usually another quarterback with another bye week, obviously, in this case. So no overlapping there. And look at that running back as well. That's also awesome. We got Christian McCaffrey, who we got in the first round. Josh Jacobs. This is how we started our draft with those two running backs. Isaiah Pacheco as the third running back. Braylon Allen, Jalen Wright. Wide receivers, we have, I think this is a pretty solid wide receiver room with upside. We have Tyreek Hill. Please, Tyreek Hill, have a good year. Get on the same page with Tua. Let's stop this madness. And for fantasy fans, we can use you, especially if we're grabbing you in the third round, sir. Tyreek Hill, DJ Moore, Calvin Ridley. I'm very bullish on Calvin Ridley. I've been drafting Calvin Ridley since January. I've been very high on him, obviously with the hopes and beliefs that Cam Ward was going to be the number one overall pick. I just think Calvin Ridley is so talented. And years ago, we were drafting him in the second round, not too long ago, actually. And to see where we're getting him currently, the upside that he carries, and if he finally gets a quarterback that can actually get the football to him, is just, I think his target share is going to be north of like 25-26%. He's going to be a true wide receiver one, and what we're getting him is at a discount. Matthew Golden, I just shared a little bit about him. Rashad Bateman, at this point, what I love about these guys, the Rashad Batemans of the world, the Adonai Mitchells, even Jalen McMillan, all these guys are going to be very crucial. Not so much for the bye weeks here. It doesn't look like I have too much of an issue when it comes to the bye weeks when starting three wide receivers. And then, in most cases, you're going to want one of these guys to probably fall in the flex. I'm also okay if one of the running backs ended there. Obviously, just the highest scoring player to be on your flex, spike weeks. This is why you draft these guys late. Spike weeks. You're going to have a game where Rashad Bateman is probably going to go for 7 receptions, 118 yards, and maybe 2 touchdowns. That's going to be able to boost my standing in that pod that I'll be in with this 12 team here that we have. Adonai Mitchell, I mentioned he's my highest exposed player. I'm very big on Adonai Mitchell. I had Adonai Mitchell going into that NFL draft as a top 5 wide receiver for me. I had Malik Neighbors, Marvin Harrison, Brian Thomas Jr. I was really big on Keon Coleman, so I had him as my 4th, and then my 5th guy was Adonai Mitchell. I think very highly of Adonai Mitchell, and I think him ending up in the 2nd round for the Indianapolis Colts was such a steal for that. We have Reggie Wayne as a wide receiver coach out there, who I know is probably really, really, really working on him. And we've been getting Adonai Mitchell at the very end of draft, before all this information came out. He's looking really good at camp. He started off early on pretty bad. He started off with some drops. He started off with some issues, not getting connection. But that's going to come when you have Anthony Richardson getting hurt, and then you have Daniel Jones in there incorporating a new quarterback and trying to build some type of rapport. But once that connection starts flourishing, which he already started building with Anthony Richardson towards the tail end of the season last year, sky is the limit for him. And to get him late in drafts, I'll take shots on that every day of the week. Every day of the week. Because I believe that he'll do enough to pay off his ADP. In this case, I drafted him in 17th round. I think he's going to pay off his ADP. I am really bullish. I actually think that he might end up being more of a starter for me in most cases. And we're looking at a team here with Tyreek Hill, DJ Moore, and Calvin Ridley. I'm really high on him, y'all. I also took a bet. I think it was at plus 2,800 for him to catch over 1,000 yards. So, as you can see, I'm bullish. And to be bullish on a player that you're getting in the 17th and 18th round, what risk are you really taking there? Not much. Deontay Johnson, I already shared with y'all more or less why I think he's a really good pickup in the 18th round. And he fit well with the correlation as well that I had for Chicago, and a few other teams here too. Tight end, we got TJ Hawkinson and Darren Waller. All right, y'all. TJ Hawkinson, ready to start seeing it. He got hurt, I believe, last year. Right now we're having hamstring issues with Justin Jefferson. And then what else do we have here? yeah, Jordan Addison is suspended for the first 3 games. Justin Jefferson is struggling with some of his hamstring issues. That's going to be a big, big opportunity for TJ Hawkinson to now start taking away some target shares from others, at least early on into the season, until they get the other 2 guys back. But if he can establish a good rapport with JJ McCarthy, as we know, rookie quarterbacks benefit greatly from their tight ends. They usually are their security blankets. I think TJ Hawkinson is due for a big year this year. I like that pick. And then Darren Waller, 18th round, Darren Waller. They traded for him. If y'all can name me the other tight end that's in that tight end room right now, props to y'all, because it is extremely thin in there. All right, y'all. That's all I got. Thank you so much for joining the show. Very, very excited to do more of these with y'all. And make sure to do me a favor. Like and subscribe my page, please, here on YouTube. I'm looking to add more subscribers, and it's going to be the likes as well. It's going to help with the algorithm, and then just being able to push more content out there. It's going to be very helpful. And once again, I'm excited. I want to hear more thoughts from y'all in the comments below. Let me know what you guys thought of this draft. That's the beauty of this. I'm not some professional. I haven't won a BBM yet. I'd love to hear some of your thoughts. Share with me. This is kind of a little bit of where I am going as far as my draft strategy has been. Some guys here, obviously, I didn't pick exactly how I go about things, but sometimes you just got to work with how the board throws things your way. I think pretty high of this. I think it's going to be a good team. Hopefully it's the team, like I said, that wins us $2 million. And we have video proof to prove it. That's the beauty of it. So yeah, make sure you write comments below. Who are the guys you guys are highly exposed to? Some of the guys you're interested in drafting. And yeah, thank y'all. Appreciate y'all. Really, really, really appreciate y'all. Until next time.